Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Closer.
Okay. Before I introduce myself, I would like to start with a very famous quote that I've always wanted to say into a microphone at a wedding. Marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. Love. True love. That's it. My name is Maria Nelson, and I am the childhood best friend and aunt of the bride. Somehow, no one ever thinks I'm the aunt. It makes no sense. Can't you tell? Even though she's a little over a year and a half older than me, I have pulled the aunt card before. One time we were at a sleepover, and I made her eat her carrots and her vegetables before she ate any more sweets. She was very annoyed at me. Very annoyed. Now that Dylan is married to Cabrini, I think I have the right to call him my nephew-in-law, which means I can pull the aunt card on him now. One time, Cabrini and I decided to stop correcting when they thought we were sisters, and we just went along with it. However, despite not being biological sisters, I have felt more like your sister than anything else. Cabrini, growing up with you has been one of the biggest blessings God has given me. We've been through so much together that calling you my other half is so real. You've pushed me to become the very best version of myself. You've been there in my worst and best moments, and you've encouraged and been an inspiration to me to go live life. I've enjoyed the many times we've laughed so hard together. We were so close to tears, like the time we pushed the tablet off the bed, or the time we were dying laughing, eating ice cream on Amy's kitchen floor. Or the times we have shared many deep and serious conversations about the many topics relevant in our lives, like our vocations and our relationships with the Lord. You've helped me grow in my love for the Lord by your example of putting God first, and the never-failing love you show me and those around you makes you a great example of God's unconditional love. Something that I especially love about Cabrini is her easiness to laughter and her quick excitement and support she shows when something is happening to you that's really exciting. Sometimes she's even more excited than you are. It's amazing. When you showed the desire to go and serve with Net Ministries, I had no doubt that God would use your confidence, perseverance, and commitment, along with your many other gifts, to share his love and touch people's hearts. I knew what an amazing person you are and were, and what I did not expect was that a nice young man, on your team no less, would also notice. There's this guy named Dylan, and we are like twins, and he's the youngest of the group, and Dylan and I were driving and naviging the van, and we talked about so many things. I just happened to notice that his name came up a little bit more often than the others. Whatever you told yourself then, I knew you had caught feelings. The day I met Dylan was the day of the Net banquet, and during the after-party event, we stood leaning against the walls of a hallway, talking and laughing. I could see that he was trying to get to know me and making an effort and a point to try to get to know me a bit. Let me just say, you got your points. Later on in May, while discerning at a convent, I could see that Cabrini had deep feelings for Dylan. The time after Net and before you guys started dating was a tad stressful, confusing, and complicated, and you two had to do a lot of discerning. I remember that Cabrini was just never really at peace about the situation until she finally called Dylan her boyfriend, and then I've never seen her more at peace in my entire life. When Dylan moved to Steubenville for a little bit, it was an opportunity for me to get to know him better, and I saw right away how well he fit into your life. You guys were so good at just being present in each other's lives, and some of your dates would include just running errands for the day. The three of us have had many fun times, and has been a lot of fun. I said fun twice. Most of the fun caused by Dylan and I are teaming up on Brainy. Although it hasn't been that long since I've known you, Dylan, the more I get to know you, the more I realize what a great guy you are for Cabrini. You are chill and calm in Cabrini's sometimes hectful, unpeaceful moments. You give her so much joy and peace when she's around you. The excitement she shows when she's about to see you is just bursting through the seams. You listen and lead her in a quiet, gentle way that just lets her grow in confidence in her virtuous femininity and submissiveness. You know how strong-willed she can be, and you just deal with it so well. You are selfless and loving, and you make her laugh, but most importantly, you bring her closer to the Lord. She's lucky to have found you, and I think you couldn't have found a more loyal, loving, passionate, hilarious, God-centered woman to have chosen to be your best friend for your life. I know from experience that you made the best choice. I pray that you both grow closer together and have the best time of your lives, starting the journey of this amazing sacrament of marriage. I wish you both the greatest happiness, and I am so honored to stand up here today and show you both my love and support like you have both done for me. And now, will you all raise your glasses in toast of the new Mr. and Mrs. Dylan Sense?
So for those of you who have not met me yet, my name is Joe, and I've had the great honor and privilege of being Dylan's best man. Secondly, I just want to express my gratitude on behalf of the groom and bride for all of you being here to celebrate this amazing day with us. In my opinion, this couple makes perfect sense. So for those of you who don't know, Dylan and I served as missionaries with Net Ministries back in 2022 and 2023. My relationship with Dylan began during the training period, especially when missionaries go to Camp Wapo in Wisconsin for in-depth formation and more training. We were placed in the same small group, which was used for discussion, debriefing, praying, etc. And Dylan at first thought I was very extroverted. So his plan was for me to adopt him as my introverted friend. Lo and behold, I was not very extroverted. In fact, I was very introverted. And so we were just stuck together as two introverts. But clearly it all worked out. And we've built a friendship I very much cherish. So this brings me to my first point. Dylan is very loyal. Cabrini, if you haven't noticed, Dylan is in love with you. Surprise. And I have the utmost confidence that he will never leave your side, especially when it matters most, because he's always been there for me, and I understand how much more important your relationship with him is, and the beauty withheld within it. Something else I admire about Dylan is his personality. He is always willing to listen, to take deep dives, and also have the necessary belly laughs. He is unapologetically himself. Dylan, you have a beautiful sense of humor and lightheartedness, and you're never afraid to be yourself, as I said. And I admire that tremendously in you. It's brought the best out of me and all who have had the pleasure of calling you friend or husband. So over the past week, I, as well as my fellow groomsman Patrick, have had the joy of staying with Dylan at an Airbnb as we prepared for this day. And during this time, I have been able to witness firsthand the wonderful love the Lord has brought to fruition in both Dylan and Cabrini. One word that comes to mind when thinking how to explain this love is simplicity. Dylan and Cabrini both love each other very simply and simply love each other. I believe this is a love modeled after none other than the love of Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And this is a love that we're all called to. And I think it's best described in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, which I'm sure you've all heard a million times, which says this: "Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Love does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrong, but rejoices in the right. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things." So again, if you would raise your glass. Here's to Dylan and Cabrini for making this world a brighter place. May God bless you abundantly now, forever, and always. Cheers.